breakfast over business session. Well, we're excited to be hosting these workshops. Yesterday we had a workshop as well, our Lunch and Learn with Amenity Direct Care. And as the Chamber of Commerce, it's important to us to be able to provide these informative workshops for our community and our chamber members at large. And so we're happy that we're able to do that. I want to welcome everyone. I do want to thank some of our ambassadors who are here, our neighbors from the EDC. We have a lot of great folks here. I'd also like to thank our city leadership who's here. We have our Mayor Adrian Gonzalez with us this morning, as well as our city manager, Mr. Martin Garza, Assistant City Manager, Rebecca Salinas, our City Secretary, Norma Garfield, I saw her there, and of course our amazing IT team from City of Wasaco as well. So thank you to City of Wasaco again for their continuous support for being here. And of course, today we are joined by Frost Bank, who is the sponsor of today's session and providing some great information on cybersecurity. Many of us have seen a lot of the issues that have been happening across the nation and even right here in our own backyards. And so it's really critical that we have these conversations as often as possible to make sure that we're all cognizant of things happening right next door. So we want to thank all of you for joining us and being here this morning. To get us started, I'd like to invite our Mayor of Wasaco, Mayor Adrian Gonzalez, to share a few words on behalf of the City of Wasaco.
Good morning. I wanted to first start off by thanking Frost for coming down and hosting this little workshop and this breakfast and learn. What better way to learn eating breakfast, right? Okay, the way you get people's attention, provide them food, and they'll be here and they'll learn. But just the importance about cybersecurity. I know that there's a lot of things that are going on. You know, like Ms. Barber said, you know, all around the nation, and especially, you know, we've had a couple of cases here in the Valley. We've been blessed that we have a great IT staff, and nothing like that happened in the City of Wasaco, right? But knock on wood here. Knock on wood. I'm gonna go jinx it, right? Okay. That's gonna be my fault. But you know, as you know, we had a little meeting the other day, about 2 weeks ago, right, Rick? About the boards, about emails and stuff like that. And I just looked at them. I was like, well, I don't have that issue because I barely know how to turn on my computer, so don't worry about me trying to do anything like that. But again, you know, it's something that we need to you know, be very aware of. And you know, this is the perks about being a part of the chamber, right? They provide workshops and trainings like this that will inform everybody on the importance of cybersecurity and how to be aware of what goes on. So Frost, again, I want to thank you guys for hosting this breakfast and this little learning experience, I guess you call it. What is it? Learning.
Business over breakfast.
Business over breakfast. Just the breakfast part sounds good, right? So again, thank you guys. God bless you.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, we really enjoy having the opportunity to work with great professionals. And Frost Bank, as an investor of the Chamber, has done so much for our community. They're really big on community investment, and they have really dedicated a lot of support to the Wasaco Chamber of Commerce. So we're very grateful to them for that. I do want to recognize the Frost team who's here with us. Let's give them a round of applause. If you're with Frost, raise your hand. And we'll be hearing from Jose and Jamie in just a moment. But before we do that, I just kind of want to go around the room quickly just to kind of get a feel for who we have with us. So we can just do a quick little introduction, the name and the organization, your name and the organization that you represent. I won't pass the mic around, but I will ask everyone to use teacher voice as best as possible. So just a quick intro, your name and the business you represent, and I'll put Michelle on the spot here. You know, I just want to make sure.
Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Michelle Smith and I work with the Wasaco EDC.
Good morning, my name is Laura Munoz and I work with Financial Advantage Consultants.
Good morning, my name is Roy Ramirez and I'm with Davis Real Estate based out of Wasaco.
Hi, I'm Jessica Price, Capital Learning Center.
Hi, I'm Yusuf Stagin. Monica is with Lone Star National Bank.
Good morning, my name is Rick Mendoza. I'm with the City of Wasaco. I'm the IT Director for the city.
So I'm Eddie Gill, City of Wasaco IT Department.
Morning, Petrina Veglia from South Texas Initiative.
Good morning, Elio with Gem 360 Photo Booth.
Hi, good morning, Jen Chavez. I'm a local independent sensing consultant.
Hi, I'm Joel Craig with Access Water Technologies.
Marisol Nunez, I'm a realtor with Davis Real Estate.
Mario Stan with DHR Help.
Servando Munguia with South Texas Initiative Trade School.
Norma Casu, City of Wesco, City Secretary.
Javier Salinas, Assistant City Manager, City of Wesco.
Thank you all, and I do also want to highlight our Wesco Chamber team who's here with us. If they just want to wave real quick, feel free to ask any of us if you need anything. We're here to help you and make sure that you have a great experience this morning. So what I'm going to do next is pass it over to Jose to get things going, and also we want to introduce some of your Frost members who are here today. So once again, thank you to Frost, and thank you to Jose, who's also an ambassador and serves as a great leader in our community and always assists the chamber as well. So thank you, Jose, for helping us organize this session.
I don't like to use mics, so hopefully you can hear me, right? Is everybody okay with it? Okay, good.
Teach your voice.
Right, teach your voice. First, though, I'd like to give another round of applause for our chamber. They've done a tremendous job. We've partnered with several chambers throughout the valley, and hands down, you guys are the best. So,
Make sure to get that on camera.
And also to the city as well, so we appreciate the partnership that you guys have with the chamber and also with our businesses within the community. So thank you for that too. First and foremost, again, thank you to each and every one of you as well for taking out fraud. As Barbara mentioned, very timely that we're having this, and it's very relevant too because it has impacted some quite a bit here in the valley as well. So thank you for taking that time out this morning. I know it's an investment of time that you're making to be here, so we truly appreciate that. Just to recognize some of our cross bankers that are here as well. I'll introduce Jamie here in a second, but we have Alfredo Montanaro. He's our Senior Vice President here in the Valley, so he covers the entire Valley. So Alfredo, thank you for being here as well. He's one of our leaders. And then we have Ray Soto. He's one of our lenders that's out of the Wesco location. Again, I do encourage you, if you have any financial needs, visit us here in Wesco. We're right there off the West Gate. And Ray and Paola Escalante is there as well. And then we have Alex Montenegro, who one of our own is actually part of the board of the chamber too. So that should say as well that we're very ingrained in the community here too. So we appreciate that. Next, what I'll do is I'll turn it over to Jamie, but just introduce her, Jamie Palmer. I've known her for many years, but she's awesome at what she does. But I truly love her title. I don't know if I covered that. She's Financial Crimes. I kind of wish I had that title. That's kind of cool. The only thing she's missing that I know of is a badge and a gun, unless it's hidden somewhere. I don't know.
And they will not give me when I've asked.
So she comes from Fort Worth to do these sessions throughout the valley. So we truly appreciate her coming down. So I'll hand it over to Jamie, and she'll take over the presentation as well. So thank you all. Enjoy.
Hope everyone's doing okay. Okay, fabulous. So y'all can hear me, right? Because I'm pretty darn loud, right? Or that's what I'm told. They said you should use your headset. I said, I am using my headset on this. So anyway, welcome. Glad you guys are here. I'm going to just talk about what goes on in today's world, and I know probably none of y'all have heard of fraud before, but just in case, how many of you have been victims of some kind of debit card, credit card fraud, identity theft, whatever, right? Showing pretty much everyone in here. Who in here has committed fraud? It's I have found out that even if you were in if you whisper it, it's less offensive. So it's okay if you just whisper it, right? So with that, let's just start. Let's just talk about why are we even talking about it. So the numbers just came out for this past year, in 2023. They've got all the numbers together, so we just got this updated information. And this is how much fraud has grown so much. That's why it's such a big deal. So just 2.6 million in the U.S. of fraud reports that were actually filed. There are are tons of people that never file any of their identity theft, even though we tell them, you should file that or whatever. They know these are just the ones that were filed in 2023. I will tell you the numbers in 2024 are not out yet, but they were up substantially. Business impersonators or whatever, which is typically your business email compromises, you can see the loss, 752 million. And again, guys, this is just of those that are reported. So identity theft is insane right now. I actually call almost all of our online account openings, and of the ones I call, at least 7 out of 20 are victims of identity theft. They go, no, I did not open that new account there. So it is very important that if you haven't got a freeze on your credit, even as we're talking about business fraud, but most of this applies to all of us personally as well. So just so you know, those are the reasons why we're all kind of talking about it, because it's huge. Now, typically, your small businesses are hit pretty hard with business impersonation and stuff like that. If you had to guess, because of, let's say a new business is starting up today, or your small businesses that have even been out there, how much of a line item do you think that they're contributing to cybersecurity? You know, if you had to guess, how many of them do you think have that plan in place? It's actually 62%. So 40% of our small businesses out there, which is why they're hit, is because yes, they may keep up with some of their stuff, but all of a sudden they get renewal from McAfee or whoever the protection is, right? And they're just maybe a small mom and pop business, whatever the case is. They go, oh, I'll get that tomorrow. I'm so busy today, and they forget about it. It just opens that door for a compromise. So that's why but a lot of times they don't know where to start. Remember, these small businesses can be 1 all the way up to even 200 people is considered a small business, up to 300, depending on how much funds you bring in every year, right? So again, it's just overwhelming and how easy it happens. So let's just talk about some of these. Cybercrime, obviously, as far as dollar-wise, has pretty much surpassed, and some of it in our world, in the banking world, sometimes it even surpasses our losses in check fraud and cyber fraud and all that, surpasses our loan losses. Isn't that insane to think that more of your crime is committed in cyber fraud? I saw a little cartoon the other day, and this guy goes into the bank, and he holds up a gun and he goes, I'm here to rob you. She goes, haven't you had a computer at home? You can get away with this right at your home, right? So, we talked about your ID theft, which again, I'm telling you, it's pretty high right now, and I don't know if it's a result from years ago when the credit bureau was hacked. I don't know if they still have that information, which I'm sure they do. But all of a sudden, all of this, and a lot of the addresses are their old addresses, so I'm just wondering if that's where all of this information is coming from. It's from that attack, and that's probably been 7 or 8 years ago that happened, but I don't know that, of course. But again, your small businesses are your biggest target. So, by the way, there's a lot of, if you go on the dark web and you look at things, there's a lot of stuff out there that they have hackers for hire. And you'll see here later how the Russians do it. So they actually have like things out there that says, are you good at hacking? We can train you, whatever. It's actually out there on the dark web. They have. Did y'all know that they also have murder for hire? See, there's times some of that could have been useful information, right? But anyway, they have all those currency, the new currencies, all the crypto that people are doing. If you have not heard of this, and it's called pig butchering, it's kind of weird. This affects you as a personal level. But they just suddenly, you get a text on your phone and it says, hi, how are you? And you respond back. You think it's in it, you go, oh, you must have a wrong number. I'm not who you think. And all of a sudden you just start talking. Y'all would be shocked at the number of people that they just kind of start talking to this person. Well, they kind of feel like they become personal friends. And all of a sudden they said, hey, we've been talking a while. I thought you might be interested. I've been investing in this crypto. And look at all the money I've made. If you're interested, you could start off with $500 and they'll send it to them. And then it gets a little bit more. Look at how much you've made, which they never make any of it. They're just showing on a fake. And these people just believe it. It almost works like the romance scam, but it's an investment and they're just we're just friends. And I want to see you do as good as I've been doing. And we've been talking and y'all, it's gone crazy. It's on the top of the charts right now. So the other day I get this text on my phone and it said, can I ask you a question? I started going, well talk about that here shortly. And of course, the dark web, which, again, you and I can't really get on it, but those, I mean, I guess you can learn. But the criminals, there's a lot out there. And I really wish I could show y'all some stuff. Our postal inspector sends me stuff he finds all the time. And it targets Ross Bank. It says, you want to make $5 grand? And it has all the money right there. So I have it. I should have put it in here for y'all. Oh, there we go. So it all starts with phishing. Every bit of the cybercrime, 98% starts with someone clicking. So, and you know who's doing it? All of the humans. If y'all would just get rid of them, your businesses would be safe, right? But unfortunately, that doesn't work. But it all, 98% starts with somebody clicking on the link. And here's why. So, well, before we get that, so how can you protect yourself from this? So with emails and text, make sure that you are training your employees not to click on those emails. It's enticing, right? We'll look at some of those. If you aren't sure who it comes from, or maybe you thought you were sure, just be real careful about clicking. So don't just pull up and click because you know, hey, I'm getting this like Jose. Yeah, he works, but if I don't look and it says external instead of internal, because sometimes you just kind of miss that. And maybe somebody's hacked into his email, and I didn't realize it. And then I click, and there it goes, right? So it says, and especially if you don't have that big IT infrastructure, all of a sudden your computer is totally infected with whatever virus was in that URL. So download only from reputable sources. I'm going to show y'all some things here in a minute that happened to us. But look, we used to say this, and I want to tell y'all this is a thing of the past. We used to say, look for misspelled words, look for weird punctuation. They've gotten so good. So normally now what happens is that they have been reading, if your computer was compromised, they've been reading your emails and your conversations back and forth for months. So they know how your vendors talk, they know how you talk. So it looks legitimate now. This isn't old. But what about this? Here's what happens. You get something as a surprise and it takes you off guard, and that's when this happens. Maybe you're driving in your car and you get a phone call from Frost Bank or Chase Bank or Bank of America says, oh my gosh, you have some charges. We just want to verify that this is happening nonstop all day, every day in and we're a Texas only bank. I cannot even imagine the bigger, larger banks, what they're going through right now. So they call, they say, hey, there's some charges. We just want to make sure and verify you did them. And you panic, right? Because maybe you're driving in your car and you go, oh, no, I did not do that. That was not me. Stop it. And they go, no worries. Just give me your PIN and I can certainly stop that right away. They're signed on the computer. You give them the PIN. They put password help. It sends you a PIN and says, okay, we just sent you a PIN to your cell phone. Look, can you read that off to me? And our customers do. And they know not to. We send out a million emails, right? But you're caught off guard. And that's what it's the element of the surprise. So if you get something from the IRS, immediately you panic, especially like today on April 15th, right? But you immediately panic and you go, oh my gosh, that wasn't me, and you click. And then afterwards you might realize, oh no, but it's that sense of surprise. Oops, this was actually, let me go back to this one. This was actually a true breach several years ago, many years ago actually, but I kept it in here on purpose. We actually, at the time this happened, we had Blue Cross Blue Shield. So if you had that and you knew that and you were a victim, and they truly did have a data breach, but they're wanting to provide protection for you. You can click on that link and they're going to provide a year of protection for you, right? Of ID theft protection. Well, when you go to that link, you don't know where that URL is taking you. Well, guess what you're putting in there? Your name, your social security, your date of birth, all of that that was never their link. It got in the middle. Somebody took that link out and put their own link in there, and so many people were another victim of fraud because of this, even though it was true. Now the next one I'm going to tell you, I might fall for. I'm going to tell you why. So they're saying if I take this survey, I can get a $250 gift card and a chance for fraud. I love the big fish. Why would I not do it, right? How many of y'all caught that? It's the fillet of fish. Does anyone not understand why it's not the big fish? So my husband does it because they don't have a big fish. I go, they have it, give me that, and a big fry. So, again, you think this is innocent, right? Hey, I'm just going to get a gift card. Starbucks sends them all the time. How many times do you go shopping at Macy's, wherever, and they send you, hey, can you rate this? You don't know that it's from them. Maybe they just saw that you ordered it online, and they then sent you and said, hey, how did you like it? It's probably legitimate, but what if it's not? What if somebody in between changed that, and you click on it to make that survey? Southwest, a lot of people sending these surveys are we positive that it came from them. So that's, I'm just telling you, something as easy as that, that's how your computers get infected. This, how many of you have been getting these, especially during Christmas on your cell phone? This was actually off of my cell phone. So, but look who it's coming from. It's coming from Moses Satterfield. Why would Moses Satterfield be sending me something, but yet people will still click on that little link there or send them a response back, and that's how your phones and everything else gets infected. If you have an iPhone and you're getting all those updates, do it immediately. Apple is really, really, really good at detecting when they need updates. Google, not so much. Google will tell you they're really not in the security business, but if you get it, don't wait. Go ahead and get that done, because the more opportunity you give them to get into your system, you know, you want to do it. They've already detected that there's a problem. So do those right away. What about those online phishing things that you get on social media, right? So you get these social media things, and you said, oh, let's take this quiz, your favorite salad dressing. All of a sudden they get down a little bit lower, it says, your first car, the first street you lived on. Those are typically answers to your security questions that they provide you in different venues, right? So don't get on social media and do all of that. I had a guy one time who goes, oh, I'm so proud I'm not on social media. I'm not on anything. And I said, oh, that's cool, good for you. And I said, do you have any children? He goes, I have 2 girls. And I said, you're on social media. Girls can't help it, they can't. They're always doing selfies, and you know right where they are all the time. And if you aren't a friend of your daughters, be a friend of your friend, because that's how you're going to find out everything your kids do. Be their friend, because it's creepy to be your own kid's friend, right? But be their friend. That way you'll know everything that's going on, because girls can't help it. So stick with your familiar businesses. And my advice would always be go into the address bar and type it in there. If you Google search, I'm going to tell y'all a true story. If you Google search and you click, you do not know what you're getting. And I'm telling y'all, Google does not do security. They will tell you that. They are in the information pushing business. Use secure websites, make sure you're seeing that little lock on there. And of course, if you're going to do a browser, make sure that it's secure as well. But let me show y'all something that happened to us. This is a true story. So last May, for every bank has a business platform, right? Ours just happens to be cross-connected. I'm just using it as an example. That's how they can go in. They can do wires, they can do ACHs, so they go to cross-connect. Normally, we would suggest, if you have a business platform, you type it in the address bar, crossbank.com, and go to your business platform, whatever, and maybe bookmark it. That way you know you're going to the same one every time. But last May, we had 13 customers that did Google Cross Connect. Guys, they clicked on this Cross Connect. It's not ours. So let me show y'all the difference. So it said Frost Tressunny Connect. They didn't catch that, right? 13 customers before we knew that this was out there under Google search. We had no idea. So when it popped up, it looked like that. And they put in their information. This is really ours. So with that being said, these 13 customers all did wires and ACHs to the tune of $3.9 million that went out of this bank, or our bank. Not all of it was a loss. We got most of it back because one customer, because we called those, at the minute one of the customers called us and said, there was a $750,000 wire that went out of our account. We didn't do that. It's because when these people clicked on the wrong link, they put in all of their information, right? Their VPNs and all that. So they had access now to their computer. They sent all this out. We got most of it back, so it wasn't a complete loss or anything. But again, it was out there on Google under the Google search. How many of y'all have tried to call Google and say, you need to take that down? Try it. I don't know that you'll find an answer. So we had to shut our system down for a couple of hours just to be able to get Google small businesses, so I've had people in the audience before go, that happened to us. And they were just a small, I don't even remember what she told me they did, but it happened to them. It was a vague Google search, and they clicked on it to buy. And anymore, it's happening on eBay, it's happening on all these things where people are clicking, thinking they're buying a car, thinking they're getting a good interest rate or whatever the case is, and that's not the case. So be careful. Even if you're Google searching, let's say you have a problem with your Microsoft, right? With Microsoft or whatever it is, and you Google search it, sometimes those phone numbers are not really to them. So you gotta be really careful about looking for Google. So here's what kills me about business email compromise. Still goes on 20 years later. 20 years later, I've been working in this financial crime group for about 23 years. My very first case was a business email compromise. So you're thinking, well, this doesn't happen anymore. Y'all, I bet you if I pulled up my email right now, we already have 2 or 3 today of customers that fall for this. Now, it can be any number of things. So your emails are hacked, so they know how you speak, they know how you read. Somebody's clicked on something, one of your employees, so if you're not having employee training, I'm telling you, I went to a Secret Service presentation the other day. 4 times in his presentation, it said employee training, employee training, employee training. So again, you may tell them today, but guess what? You hired somebody last week. They weren't in on that conversation, and maybe they're fresh out, they don't know. Maybe they're fresh out of college, whatever the case is. They don't know. So you've got to continually say, please do not click on anything. Please do not click on anything. So they mimic, once they find out how you write, they mimic your style, they mimic your conversation, they know how you speak. And a lot of times they're just getting information because they've seen a vendor send you an email. So there's different kinds. If they tell you it's urgent, we need this invoice paid right now, or we've changed our banking information, we're no longer taking checks. We're only going to take ACHs. We're only going to take wires. Watch for those kinds of things. But you've got to have a policy that says maybe if you're going to change anybody's banking information in your world, you have to have a second person that approves it as well. You can't just make it on your own. So if you only have one accounts payable person, or maybe it's you, just be careful on what you're changing. How do you use Venmo or Zelle? Okay, you know what's interesting? And what is your name? Laura. Laura and I are going on vacation, by the way. So Laura and I are going on vacation, and Laura has booked it. And she goes, okay, I booked our flight, you owe me $500. You know what I won't do? Is Zelle her or Venmo her $500. You know what I do? I send her $1. I go, hey Laura, did you get it? She goes, yeah, I did, and then I'll send her the rest. But it's funny how businesses will send $2 million, $1 million, and they don't think anything about it. Is it because it's not their own money, maybe? Or I don't know, but it happens all. And y'all, there are some very sophisticated businesses out there that I've been privy to watch going, oh my gosh, and they are so knowledgeable, and it happened to them. And they have a great IT group, but it happened to them. So one is your vendor supplier that says your vendor, you owe us this invoice, or they probably sent you an invoice, they didn't know their computer was compromised. So by the time it reaches Laura's desk, maybe she's been doing business with this company forever, she recognizes the email, but by the time it reaches her, in between, because their computer was compromised, they had no idea, they've changed their banking information. Laura gets it, doesn't think anything about it, she gets their invoices via email all the time, but now they've got to change their banking. She just makes the change. So that's how one of them happens. The other one is the business executive, and maybe it's the boss, okay? So he's out of town, and what's your name? Roy?
Yes.
Roy's out of town. I'm Roy's assistant. Roy's going out of town, he just sent me an email, said, don't forget I'll be out of town this week, da-da-da. All of a sudden I get another email from Roy, and you know I love working there. Roy's great, we have fun, whatever. So Roy sends me another and says, oh my heck, I totally forgot to pay this invoice. I'm going to send you this information. Can you make sure that gets paid today? I don't even know how I forgot about it. Well, I certainly want to do a good job, right? And plus, have y'all ever seen Roy get mad? So I don't want to make him mad, right? So I want to do a good job. So, see? So I want to do a good job, so I make sure I get that paid. usually urgent, I need it to go out right away, or I'm not gonna be available, like he's supposedly not available, I can't call him. Well, if Roy forgot to pay the invoice, and he's on the airplane, it can wait 2 hours or 3 hours until it gets off of the airplane so I can call him, right? And the third one is employee, y'all, this is happening a lot more, it's very interesting. HR is getting from me, and maybe it's coming from me, it says, hey, just want you to know I changed my bank account because my old one got hacked or old one got compromised, so I had to open a new bank account, here's my information. And HR is just changing the information. So it happened to a lady in my class, and she goes, oh my gosh, you saying this? She goes, I gotta tell you, we're an office of 8. We all sit like right here. She gets an email and changes, she goes, and you know how I found out? My house payment bounced. So she goes, now my house payment isn't paid, and I go in there, I said, Irma, I'm right here. Couldn't you have just said, hey, Judy, you changed your face, what happened? She didn't ask. So this woman now has to deal with her house payment, possibly, and she had no money in the account because her payroll didn't go in. So there's a domino effect even. So this is happening quite a bit more. So even though it was only, if you will, $3,200, it was my $3,200 that didn't make it to my account, and now what? You know, who's gonna be to blame there? So it's pretty scary to think how that goes on. Best defense, pick up the phone. Wait, let me see. A rotary dial phone. Everyone, right? Have you? Oh, okay. You look very young. I was like, you probably don't even know. But anyway, so the rotary phone with the cord, right? And so y'all remember that? Remember how awful it was when they went from 7 digits to 10, and you had to do it? I was at 817, so and you mess up and you had to start over. How awful was that? But anyway, pick up the phone. If you have any information changes via email, you do not need any other procedures today. This is your procedure. Pick up the phone and call us and just want to confirm that, and make sure it's a number that you didn't find on Google that you already knew from some of your records, right? Businesses don't normally change their phone numbers, which is interesting because we have people calling in all the time, I need to change my phone number. It's not them calling in, it's somebody impersonating them because they want to change the phone number so they can produce a counterfeit checks, and we'll call the new number to verify those checks. Businesses don't normally change their phone numbers, but pick up the phone. Just make sure, and if they did, you're set. If you get any kind of email, vendor payments, especially, somebody here was real estate.
Over here.
Over here, real estate. Title companies are notorious for unfortunately getting information, and most of them have it on their emails. Please do not base anything on an email or whatever. They were the #1, they tightened it up a lot, but title companies, as you know, it was crazy. People were sending their down payments via via flyers from an email that they received, instead of calling back to the title company and saying, I just want to make sure these are correct before I send it. And guys, this is $50,000. How many of you have an extra $50,000 if you lose that and you don't get it back, and now your dream home's gone because they don't have that down payment because you sent it to the wrong place? Go ahead. I've gotten a lot of customers now that will say, I will only take a cashier's check to the title company or whatever, but some of them won't accept it. But again, it happens to everybody. Nobody is exempt. You think you are, but you're not. So this is a true story. I like to put that in there just because I want you to know it happens constantly. This particular customer lost $63,000, all because they didn't change payment information via email. Would your company survive if you sent out $63,000? And here's what happens. So let's say it's me and let's say Laura, my husband. I supply Laura with most of her cleaning products. She has a small, let's say, house cleaning business, whatever. She buys almost all of her products from me. Then Laura says, hey, I've got a new commercial business I'm taking on. I need some more product. And I said, well, you never paid your outstanding invoice. I'm not sending it until you get paid me. And she says, but I did. And I said, well, I never got it. She goes, well, here it is. And I go, that's not my information. I don't make there. And she goes, well, you sent me that email. I go, She goes, well, I paid it. Okay, well now Laura and I are at an impasse, right? Who's at fault? If you go to court, the president, as of right now, y'all know it can change any day, but as of right now, they're gonna say who was in the best position to have prevented the loss. It's gonna be the receiver of the email, because I didn't even know she got the email. So if she had just called me, I would have said I didn't send you an email, number one. But number two, no, I haven't changed my information. But it doesn't matter, because now she said it's in a pickle. I'm not giving her any new product, so now what? So it doesn't really matter who was at fault. The fact is it's not gonna get resolved properly. And so she still owes me, she says she's paid, it's just a mess. So pick up that phone, that blue one with the little rotary on it. This one, and I'm just gonna make this real fast because I want y'all, the only reason I put this in here is for the shock value because this is a true story. This happened to one of our customers. $21 million was sent out via wire from our bank, going to Regions. Regions Bank called us and said, are you sure? Because we're not comfortable with this beneficiary that's receiving this amount of money. So we called back to the person that sent it, her name was Rhonda actually, called her back. We picked up the phone and called her. She said, yep, I verified it, it's good to go. We responded back then, it's all done via wire, but anyway, we responded back to Regions and said, yep, she says it's good to go. Regions called us, or sent us back and said, we're still not comfortable with this. Is there any way you could just double check one more time? We called Rhonda back. So Rhonda says, yes, it's good, da-da-da. Before we responded back, about 20 minutes later, Rhonda calls us and goes, oh my gosh, that is not good information. She finally went back and checked, and it was received via email. She never called them to verify anything. But here's my point. We saved the 21, no. But here's my point, what are we doing? What if it had gone? They were paying off, they sold a commercial building, and they were paying off the loan of that building because they received their proceeds from the payment. What would have happened? That building would have still had a lien against it that they had sold, but $21 million. True story. Malware and ransomware still become a big thing. Ransomware has become a really big thing, even for some of our customers, which is it's so weird to me. But you know, ransomware just holds your computers, kind of like if I took a child. I have not done that, it's just an example. But if I took a child and I called the parent and I said, hey, I'm gonna give you your child back, and what would happen if the parent goes, you keep her? My mother always said that. She goes, I'm not even worried, they'll bring you back. But anyway, they're holding it until you pay them to release your information. And here's the thing, they have all your computer right now. So even if, like I told you, Laura has a small cleaning business, Laura she has all of her stuff on her computer. Laura comes in one day and she finds, let me go back to this. She finds this. Her computer has been locked. So Laura is supposed to be cleaning my house today because I'm gonna have a party, and I hired her. Somebody gave me word of mouth, and I hired her. I'm gonna have a party this weekend. Laura can't call me to tell me she didn't even know she's supposed to be there because all of her calendars are on her computer. She doesn't have any information how to get to me. She can't call me and tell me she's not coming. My house is gonna be cleaned out from this big party I'm having. Again, even the smallest of businesses with ransomware, and they're always gonna ask you to look to pay in Bitcoin because it's less easy to get back. So y'all, trivia, y'all know who was, I don't know if they still are, but was the biggest holder of Bitcoin? It was Travelers Insurance and Lloyd's of London, because they're the two biggest insurance companies that insure cybercrime for larger companies. So they would keep Bitcoin on hand for this specific thing. They actually have negotiators at those two insurance companies to negotiate with people that do ransomware. Isn't that bizarre? Because it's a business. But so, is she gonna pay? Okay, let's say we pay. Let's say they tell Laura $5,000 to get your information back. And Laura says, will you take 3 or whatever? And they negotiate. Laura pays them in Bitcoin. She pays the Bitcoin. say, okay, you've got your information back. It's unencrypted, you can do your business as usual. However, we're gonna ask for 5,000 more, and either you pay it, or all of that information we're gonna put on the dark web. What do? What if you're a school district, and you have all those kids' socials, all of that information? It happens to school districts all the time. It happens, I mean, I cannot even tell y'all how many school districts. That's your kids' social information, that if you don't have a freeze on their credit right now, they may have loans out there in their name, who knows? Because all of that information is now sold on the dark web if you don't pay that a second time. So, or even if you don't pay it, all of your money, your stuff was backed up. They still have your information. So again, ransomware is scary, and I don't think people realize how scary it is. Hospitals have been affected by it. There were patients that couldn't even, it's been crazy, just the things, if you read it, it's going on all day, every day. So let me go back. Russia is our #1 person that does ransomware. By the way, Russia actually recruits and employs people by their government and pays them bonuses, they have HR, everything to perform hacking services. And Russia is perfectly good with it. They have hackathons, they had one in Vegas, interesting enough. But you know what? It's for information purposes only, or entertainment purposes only, or they don't say it's to actually hack in the US. That's what they use it for. But they actually, and this is very well known throughout industry, Russian really do, they are okay with it as long as it's not against their own country. So any other country, open game, and they actually train them. Gonna go back to same thing. Keep your devices updated, keep your security updated. When you get that email that says, hey, your McAfee is gonna expire, get that updated. Don't click on the link though that they send you to click here to update. Don't do it. Go to McAfee or whatever firewall you use. Only download from those reputable sources, which again is the same thing with your business email compromises, and validate the authenticity of those before you do anything. Same with both. All of it's the same. Anyway, I wanted to show you that. How do you protect yourself? Obviously, training. Know what information is on your system in the event that you are compromised, and because it can be a fine to you depending on how large your company is if you're not protecting it. Because if you have my information, I'm expecting you to protect my information, right? So depending on what information you have, so know what information you have out there. Know who's handling it. Don't let it be open to everybody. Train, train, train. Have your procedures. What is your procedures? Pick up the phone. So get that blue phone and put it on everybody's desk. Have it ready for them. Make sure you're reviewing the procedures that you expect in your company. Maybe make it a rule that you can't surf the internet at work. They need to bring their own personal devices if they want to do that at lunchtime or whatever, but not to do it at your work. So kind of, you might want to get, we're not really allowed to do a lot of stuff on ours. They block most of the sites depending on if there's a business need to know, which I'm in fraud, right? You would think if I pull up fraud, I should be able to do it. They won't let me. I have to do it on my own personal device, right? But, so again, Roy has to be willing to say, Jamie, if I send you an email, it's okay to call me no matter what. Roy has to be willing to say, don't respond to an email even though you think it came from me, for any kind of money going out. You can always get a hold of me. So you've got to have that protection from the top. You've got to have somebody willing to say. Commitment from managers. And here's the problem. Most of the time, the big people hear it. Like if Roy's the owner of the company, he hears it. Roy doesn't go back and tell his accounts payable team. They're the ones that make all the changes. They're the ones that pay out all the bills. It never reaches them. So make sure everybody's aware of it, even though you think it could be just someone that's doing sales, outside sales. Make sure they're not clicking on things on your computer, right? Because that's how it is. If it happens, have a plan today. Don't panic and go, oh, this will never happen to me, because I can promise you it will. Same thing, oh, fish me, we get that all the time. Oh my gosh, so we get fake emails, right? Ross sends them all the time, and if I click on it, I get in trouble. So one time, this is so annoying, one time, it was last December actually, there is an e-bite. Well, who doesn't? That's how everybody gets stuff nowadays, right? It came to my computer at work, and it was an e-bite, and I was just so excited because I knew there was a Christmas party coming up. So I sent it, because I was thinking, right? I sent it to my personal self. I just forwarded it to my personal email, and I opened it. And it says, you've been fished, or whatever. So the next day, I come into the office, and my friend Linda calls me. She goes, oh my gosh, you of all people, why did you do that? And I go, well, I didn't put it to work. I sent it to, she goes, it just shows that you opened it. She goes, but why would you? And I go, well, I was going to a party, and I was all excited. I already had a dress, a hat. Anyway, so I got in trouble, right? And then I was mad that I got in trouble, and there was no party to go to, so I was really angry. But it happened to me, but they do. So if you want to do this with your employees, there's companies out there that do. One of them's called Fish Me. I don't know the cost. I'm sure it's based on the number of employees or whatever. But you might consider doing that maybe twice a year. You know, like I said, I don't know the cost of it, but it's a good idea. And it, like I said, I thought there was something weird, but I was like, it's an e-bite, right? It was not a good thing. No surfing on the net, we talked about that. You can get fined depending, like I said, on the size of your business, because it is a law that you are required to protect personal information of mine. But again, like I told y'all, school districts, cities are hacked. I'm going to show y'all. I added one in here. It's not there. So Jose, before I came, he blew up my computer with all of these things that happened here in the valley, right? So I thought I added it to our slide because I was going to show y'all. It happened here locally just recently. The OCC, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, it happened to them. They had to report to Congress, which Jose was nice enough to send me. He kept sending me stuff. Here's another one. Here's another one. Y'all, this happened just this last month. So it still happens. It's happening all the time. So just letting you know, these things all still happen. Check fraud is on the rise. You know why? Because mail theft is on the rise. They are aware. I really wish I'm going to put this in my next one. But mail theft is out of control right now. So all those blue mailboxes, and maybe not here as much as in our Dallas-Fort Worth region or Houston, but those blue mailboxes, you guys, we've had so many postal employees held at gunpoint for those keys to those mailboxes because it's the same key for every blue mailbox. So I know, right? So they're stealing, so they're going up with the key, putting all that mail in a little bag, and now they've got all of these checks, commercial checks, from all these people paying their vendors, and they're counterfeiting them. And so it's become this big thing. Check fraud increased for us, you know, it had gone way down because of all the cyber fraud and all that, right? Check fraud increased for us last year. Well, 2023 was really, really heavy. And then we're getting better at it because we're now able to detect it more, but it is crazy, that mail theft. So check your statements, and I'm telling you guys, you have 30 days. Almost every financial institution has the same rules. When you get that statement, you have 30 days to report anything on there that's not right, whether it's an altered check. So look at your payees, make sure, because it's no longer the thing that you can check the number and the amount, because they're keeping those the same, because they know we all have positive pay, right? So now they're just making a counterfeit with the same check number, the same dollar amount, it clears positive pay. You check it off when you're balancing your statement, you go, it's good, it's good, good. Look at those payees, because I'm telling you, they're changing them all the time. So let your bank know within 30 days, because otherwise there's a good chance you may or may not get your funds back, because you're required to look out within those 30 days. So I just wanted to just bring that out to you, because I see it happen quite a bit where we're going, you're out of time, whatever. And I don't want to see that happen. If you find out your employee is embezzling, by the way, it happens. We just had I guess this was 2 years ago, a large case, and it was a lady. She had been working at this company for over 10 years. They felt like she was their friend, they're part of the family. It was a small mom and pop company, and it ended up, she had been using their credit cards. She had gotten a bank loan, I don't mind telling y'all, at Frost Bank, that was never signed by their CEO, by their president, or any signer. She signed it, signed his name, brought it back to the bank. Anyway, mess. desk. So feel free to do that if anybody has a fun story, anything that's happened to them in their business. Roy?
I've got a question. And mind you, I don't know much of this computer world, but when you mentioned the incident where you use your own computer, are viruses and malware, I thought those were like in the local server and not your individual computer.
It can be any. So like if I have my personal laptop, right? And all of a sudden it's compromised, and I've been emailing whoever, my friend, it can be any computer. It can be a server.
So what's how does it prevent the viruses coming into the, what do you call it, mainframe that the office uses versus your, what's affected, both of them, so if it's both of them, what's the point of your, when you use a computer, use your personal computer,
Well, because that personal computer is not connected to yours at all.
When you use their service, and that's where.
Oh, if you're using, the internet, if you have a secure internet, your internet is fine. It's not, it's attacking specific emails. Now, if they email to you, and you click on something in that email, now you could be infected. But as long as you have a secure internet site, it's only affecting this specific. Correct. Right. Typically, it's affecting that one device, or if, like this one, that's connected to a bunch of servers, through our servers at Frost, and everything's going through that, yes, it could affect our main server. But if that's a standalone, it's only gonna affect yours if I send you an email and you click on it.
So you could just don't use our server, just use your cell here, so.
Right. Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah, they would not allow me, like, we cannot sign on to our servers. We can't. So yeah, good question. Actually, great question. Somebody else had a story, I thought?
You know, when you go to Waterbury, they give you the receipt that says you surveyed the bottom. I never have ever done it, so I did it, and it gave me like 100, I expected like 100 scam calls a day after I did that. Staying for Waterbury.
Really?
Yeah, just scan the barcode and do a survey.
Oh my gosh, okay, I love that. I love that.
There's actually, something that's going on as well too is the QR code scams, where now everything's QR code. Thanks to COVID, even menus were on QR code, where you go to a restaurant and they give you the menu markets, everybody touches it, so they just tell you scan the QR code, their menu pops up and whatnot. So now there's QR code scams where it'll say like, scan to access our website or whatever, but in reality, it goes back to kind of what she was saying. It could be a spoof website where it looks exactly like, say for example, QR code for Frost. It'll take you to a website that looks almost identical to our website, but in reality, it's a website that's just collecting your data, that you're inputting your information, that your username, password, all that good stuff. It'll start doing that. So just be cautious as well with QR codes. I know now it's like, man, so what can I do now, right? But unfortunately, the scammers, they are always trying to reinvent themselves and how they can get access to your stuff. So there is a new thing, not necessarily new, but now it's getting more notoriety, is the QR code scams where you scan a QR code and you think you're going to that website or surveying, but in reality they're just capturing your data. That's probably how you're getting all these phone calls, because now your phone number is out there.
Block them all. I felt so dumb for that. We bought it.
That's what we're going to
I will tell you, it's funny that you mentioned Whataburger. Today, this morning on the radio, it was, what's his name? Is it Ed Sheeran? Yeah. So on the radio, he's not from here, right? So in his accent, he goes, oh, hands down, Whataburger in Texas. And I was like, oh my God, they're asking me the same right. Just so y'all know, thank you so much for your attention. You guys are awesome, but I can tell y'all should be super proud of your chamber. It's insane. And Jose and I do different, y'all's chambers. Y'all are so nice. Anyway, congratulations. So
have interns every summer, and it was a college intern. They actually get an email that we create for them through the chambers. They have a wesco.com email. That student worked for us. She had just finished her internship, and she had left to college already, and she was already in Austin, back in school. But her email was still active because she was still closing out her account here, and we're closing out everything. Well, she got an email from me to her email saying, "Hey, can you go purchase gift cards for an event? We need them right away." Would never send her. They don't have cards. Why would I have? Like, they don't have a business card to go buy any gifts for an event or anything. Usually, I'll take care of that. And she got the email, and she's an intern, and she's nervous, and she's getting an email from the CEO, and she's thinking, "Well, I'm gonna go do it." So she went to the store, and she had to go buy the gift cards. And right before, I guess she just thought, wait, what am I buying? How much do I need to buy? So she just happened to call the office, and she spoke to Anthony and said, "Hey, how many gift cards does Barbara need?" And Anthony said, What are you talking about?" She's like, "She sent me an email that she needs me to buy gift cards for an event." And it just so happened that it was one of those phishing scams. She just got one of those random emails, and it said that it was, from Barbara. But she got super nervous, and she went, and then I think the email proceeded to tell her that they only wanted
The
a
Google Play gift card, something like
a
that.
specific gift card with a link to send to this email. So I'm like, stop. So I mean, it just so happened that it happened to one of our interns a couple years back, and it's just one of those things.
It's everybody.
Yeah.
It's everybody.
It was.
So thank you, Jamie, as well. So thank you for.
It's legitimate. Send it to the bank.
One thing I failed to do, I introduced everybody, but I forgot to introduce myself. I apologize for that. My name is Jose Aleman. I'm with Ross Bank, of course. I'm the community development officer for the bank, and I support the Valley, Corpus, and Victoria area. But part of my job is to be out in the community and organize lunch and learns, breakfast and learns, to bring this kind of financial literacy awareness to our small businesses and businesses in general, but also to our individuals. So one of the things also that I do is I do identity theft classes for individuals, and this kind of should go hand in hand. So you're learning about how to protect your business, but it's also important to protect your own personal identity as well. In a lot of cases, business owners, right, they're sole proprietorships, so they're mom and pop. So your information is very hand in hand with the business, right? So it's equally as important to make sure that you are protecting your own personal information as well. I recently saw a movie called The Beekeeper. I don't know if anybody's seen that movie. If you haven't, give it a shot. I like it because the guy Jason Statham, he's just an action guy. He likes to beat up people. However, is anybody watching my spoiler for you now? It's about elder fraud, which is very unfortunate. It's very rampant too. Elder financial fraud. So I'll just leave it at that. And of course, picture that with a really action guy kicking butt. But it highlights the way it really gets done. It shows like the call centers that are true call centers for just literally fraud calls going out. So it's very accurate in that sense. Again, I just wanted to say to make sure you protect your personal information as well. The last thing we'll do is we're going to raffle off a $50 gift card to a lucky person who was here this morning. So we have a $50 gift card. Barbara called me up. Well, she sent me an email. I'm going to get a gift card. This is legitimate because Ross likes to put his logo on everything. So it's actually called a Mula card. Get it? It's a cow, but it's also Moo for Mula. It may not be the best comedian. But it's a Mula card. It's Ross. So Kaden will do the honor.
And then the white ticket that was given to you upon entrance, we're gonna call it yours. 5